Great. Good evening, everyone, from wherever you are watching us this evening, and welcome to the debate night. Of course, tonight we are doing not a debate, not a team versus a team, but we are having an open forum discussion with African young people on matters climate change. The question we are asking ourselves tonight, Africa should not be pressured to fight climate change at all. Should it bother us? Should we be worried? And if we should, why should we be worried? But ladies and gentlemen, before we go to that, with Africa's population projected to triple to 3 billion by 2060, imagine that. By 2060, our population is projected to be 20 to 3 billion. In less than 10 years, most of the youth now will be part of the decision makers in their regions and beyond. Climate work now must involve the youth of the country for the sake of their future. But the question we're asking ourselves, in the year 2060, by the year 2060, our population will be about 3 billion people. The question now that should we care? Is it really important for us? That's the question that we're tackling tonight. So feel free to join the conversation. It's our conversation. We are live on YouTube on Camp D Voices. We're also sharing this on Twitter and Facebook. So feel free to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell another friend, to tell a girlfriend, and to tell all their exes that we are live with this conversation. The question that we're tackling, Africa should not be pressured to fight climate change. My name is Okoth Opondo, the host of this great show. Let me welcome people. Paul Kitui, now that your mic has gone on, say hello to people. Paul Kitui, say hello to people. Paul, you are on our screen. Okay, let me start with Ali. Okay, Paul, go first.
Hi guys, my name is
Hi.
Paul. I'm happy to be with all of you. Look forward to having a
We can't hear you clearly, Paul. Maybe work on your audio or move closer to the device.
Now?
Yes, very well. Go on.
Hi. My name is Paul Kitui, and I'm happy to be with all of you today. I look forward to having a constructive debate or conversation. Thank you.
Where are you joining us from, Paul? For the sake of those joining us from also other places.
Pardon?
Where are you joining us from?
Nairobi.
From Nairobi, Kenya. Wonderful. Ali, introduce yourself, sir.
Good evening to all those who are listening and all those who are watching. Honorable Ali here greeting you. I pass my greetings to all those who are on the panel. Looking on Ray, Florence, and Javane, and Jordan, Lord, and Lame, and Macy, and also looking on Professor and Paul. I greet you by the name of Ali. I'm coming from South Africa, live from the heart of South Africa on the mountains with love and joy. And I thank you guys for inviting me on the show. It's an interesting show. I thank you so much, my brother. Love and peace, Africa.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ali joining us from the heart of South Africa. Javan Mugenzi, welcome, brother.
Thank you. I am Javan Mugenzi from Democratic Republic of the Congo, but living in Rwanda as a refugee. Yeah, I hope maybe sooner or later to get back when something get well in my country. Yes, that's all.
Wonderful. Javan joining us from Javan, born Republic of Congo, but currently Rwanda. Karibu sana Javan. Let me see, Derek Ware, can you introduce yourself, brother? Derek Ware. Derek Ware, if you can hear me. Okay. Osore Sabion, go on and introduce yourself.
Osore Sabion from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you.
Osore Sabion from Nairobi, Kenya. So as well for others, and feel free by that to open to turn your video, also just to turn your mic on whenever you want to give a contribution here. The question we're asking ourselves this night, should we really get invested, first of all, when it matters climate change, leave alone the fight? African youth or the African young people really understand anything about climate change, Japan?
Thank you for such fascinating question, and it's really interesting. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not quite sure whether Africans are really interested in the global warming, because some might even know what is taking place with the global warming. But it's interesting to be much interested for the sake of not really being manipulated by so-called developed countries. Because something just I get interested when you posted on your WhatsApp status, and it just comes to mind up to remember how many chemical industries are in developed countries. And if you see the percentages they are contributing to reducing the air pollution they are producing to our atmosphere, it's less than what they are telling us to do, and yet we have almost zero of industries which are producing air pollution, and which is really shocking me at my side when I see such campaign and funds manipulating, which is really I can see like a tool of maybe people. I can take it as political psychopath, which is really self-centered politics, really not caring about one side to another side, and it should then be interest young Africans really to think about this, as long as we are the passengers of the situations we are looking in our continent. Thank you.
Wonderful. One contribution from Javan joining us from Rwanda. Ali Malekane, should we be bothered? Yes, I'm just asking, should we be bothered about matters of climate change?
Yes, they need to be concerned. They need to be concerned, and they need to be bothered about climate change, because climate change, it does affect whatever that is happening around the globe. If there are things which are actually on the field from our side, they might the climate change in a way whereby the Mother Nature might get angry. And I'm not sure if you see what is happening in America. If you've been following the news, you see what is happening in America, whereby there are storms, there are heavy rains, where the Mother Nature is throwing everything left and right. If we don't actually take climate change into consideration, and we also don't take care of people doing pollution and everything, the Mother Nature is coming back, and we are going to suffer, and we are going to pay for us actually damaging the. It's very much important to make sure that the young ones, they need to be actually that. But so to say, I can tell you that most of the young people who are even not bothered don't even give a damn about when it comes to climate change, because what they want them to see themselves married, they want to see themselves having what they want. When you talk about climate change, it's like actually you're playing a different song to sing. Maybe it's in a different language that they can, but the young ones should. I thank you, my speaker.
Wonderful. Kitui, should we bother, brother?
Yeah, actually, I believe we should, and very much, because the common stereotype is that Africa does not need to get involved in such, because we have low participation in industry. Only about 2 to 3% of global emissions by Africa. But at the same time, Africans are disproportionately affected adversely by climate change, which is driven by low socioeconomic growth and progress in the continent. I think I like this as we move into it, but my basic answer is yes, because of the disproportionate adverse effects we experience as a continent due to climate change.
Okay, great. Let me hear from...
I look forward to having a constructive or conversation. Thank you.
Where are you joining us from, Paul? For the sake of those joining us from also other places.
Pardon?
Where are you joining us from?
Nairobi.
From Nairobi, Kenya. Wonderful. Ali, introduce yourself, sir.
Good evening to all those who are listening and all those who are watching. Honorable Ali here greeting you. I pass my greetings to all those who are on the panel. Looking on Ray, Florence, and Javelle, and John, and Lord, and Lame, and Macy, and also looking on Professor and Paul. I greet you by the name of Ali. I'm coming from South Africa, live from the heart of South Africa on the mountains with love and joy. And I thank you guys for inviting me on the show. It's an interesting show. I thank you so much, my brother. Love and peace, Africa.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ali joining us from South Africa, from the heart of South Africa. Javan Mugenzi, welcome, brother.
Thank you. I am Javan Mugenzi from Democratic Republic of the Congo, but living in Rwanda as a refugee. Yeah, I hope maybe sooner or later to get back when something get well in my country. Yes, that's far.
Wonderful. Javan joining us from Javan, born and raised in Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, but living in Rwanda. Karibu sana, Javan. Let me see. Derek Ware, can you introduce yourself, brother? Derek Ware. Derek Ware, if you can hear me. Okay. Osore Sabion, go on and introduce yourself.
Osore Sabion from Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you.
Osore Sabion from Nairobi, Kenya. So I'm there to open to turn the video on and also just to turn the mic on whenever you want to give a contribution here. The question we're asking ourselves this night: should we really get interested, first of all, in matters of climate change, leave alone the fight? Does an African youth or does the African young people really understand anything about climate change in Japan?
Thank you for such fascinating question, and it's really interesting. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not quite sure whether young Africans are really interested in global warming, because some might not even know what is taking place with global warming. But it's interesting to be much interested for the sake of not really being manipulated by so-called developed countries. Because something just I get interested when you posted on your WhatsApp status, and it just comes to my mind up to remember how many chemical industries are in developed countries. And if you see the percentages they are contributing to reducing the air pollution they are producing to our atmosphere, it's less than what they are telling us to do, and yet we have almost zero of industries which are producing air pollution. And which is really shocking me at my side when I see such campaign and funds manipulating, which is really, I can see like a tool of maybe people, I can take it as a political sycophant, which is really self-centered politics, which is really not caring about one side to another side. And it should then be interested for every young Africans really to think about this, as long as we are the part of the changes of the situations we are looking in our continent. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful contribution there from Javan joining us from Rwanda. Ali Malekane, should we be bothered?
Yeah, can you repeat your question?
Yes, I'm just asking, should young Africans be bothered about matters climate change?
Yes, the young Africans, they need to be concerned. They need to be concerned and they need to be bothered about climate change, because climate change, it does affect whatever that is happening around the globe. If there are things which are happening within, actually on the field from our side, they might affect the climate change in a way whereby the Mother Nature might get angry. And I'm not sure if you see what is happening in the meantime in America. If you have been following the news, you see what is happening in America, whereby there are storms, there are heavy rains, where the Mother Nature is destroying everything left and right. If we don't actually take climate change into consideration, and we also don't take care of people doing pollution and everything, the Mother Nature is coming back, and we are going to suffer. We are going to suffer, and we are going to pay for us actually damaging the climate. So it's very much important to make sure that the young ones, they need to be actually bothered. But so to say, I can tell you that there are most of the young people who are even not bothered. They don't even give a damn about when it comes to climate change, because what they want them to see themselves married. They want to see themselves having what they want. When you talk about climate change, it's like actually you are playing a different song to them. Maybe it's in a different language that they can't hear, but the young ones should be bothered. I thank you, my speaker.
Wonderful. Paul Kitui, should you be bothered, brother?
Yeah, actually, I believe we should, and very much, because the common stereotype is that Africa does not need to get involved in such, because we have low participation in industry. I think only about 2 to 3% of global emissions are contributed by Africa. But at the same time, Africans are disproportionately affected adversely by climate change, which is driven by low socioeconomic growth and progress in the continent. I think I'll expound on this as we move into it, but my basic answer is yes, because of the disproportionate adverse effects we experience as a continent due to climate change.
Okay, great. Let me hear from Osori Sabion. Osori Sabion, would you like to contribute to this topic? Osori Sabion, if you're there, or Derek Were, if you're back. Omukokoko, this is our conversation, all of us. So don't be worried whether you are an expert or not. This is a matter of concern to all of us. So feel free to share any opinion that you have.
If I may ask a question.
Yes.
Are we responding to whether Africa should actually be concerned, or are we responding to the level of engagement in finding solutions to climate change in Africa?
No. So first of all, I'm just asking. Just this provocative question: Should we really be concerned as young Africans now?
Yes, we should be concerned, because there's sufficient evidence to show that the climate is changing at a pace so fast, and there isn't much harmony between the existence of human beings and other species. And I think that should worry us.
Okay, that should worry us. Lord Lushiri, if you are here with us, would you like to contribute to this conversation? Lord Lushiri?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, brother.
Okay. Yeah, Africa should be concerned, because climate change, as much as we argue that in terms of industrialization we are operating at low levels, the little that we have has affected a very big part of Africa, and climate change should come to our attention, and we should start dealing with it as soon as now, because my brother there from DRC, I think, argues the percentage of Africa compared to other continents in terms of industrialization. And I want to tell him, look at them where they are right now. They're experiencing the cyclones and everything. We can't wait to be there. Okay, with our little percentage of industrialization, it has already a very big effect in terms of climate change. So we don't need to wait to be there. It is there. It is not a hoax. Therefore, it should come to our attention, and we should start dealing with climate change right now.
Okay, great. That is from John Lushiri. And I think we'll be coming back to Javan to give him an opportunity to defend his argument. Lynn Agoya, welcome. Should we be concerned about climate change as young Africans? Lynn Agoya.
Okay, so far so good. I'm happy because most of the speakers who have talked, they're really saying that Africa should be concerned about climate change. And personally, I also believe that Africa should be concerned about climate change because it is really doing more harm than good to us as Africans. Yeah, that is now for now.
Okay, wonderful. Let me introduce someone else, just getting a quick opinion. Gilbert Stark, Mkurugenzi, the director himself. Gilbert Stark, should you be
Yeah.
concerned as young Africans?
If I were to be honest about the concern, I
Yes.
would apparently I would say that we should not be concerned because according to facts over the past centuries, the temperature, the global temperature has been raised by 1 degree, and if we tend to look into the matter constructively, placing the African interest ahead of everything, I think we are still not yet at the point of getting concerned because overall, over 80% of the causes of the greenhouse effect is not from our continent, honestly and truly speaking. It's not from our continent. And if we were to be fair enough, let us first proceed, industrialize ourselves the hard way, and then when we get the soft way, how the other people from other regions of the other continents, how now we can when we are at the same rate, now we can talk of controlling the climatic change. If we are to take action, that it would be so unfair to us. Thank you.
Wonderful. So, and I think now that's driving us straight into the conversation that we are having because there's this feeling that Africa is not destroying as much as the other continents or as the other bigger nations are doing. So we should not be, the pressure of fighting climate change should not be put on our shoulders. Javan Mugenzi, let me come back to you now. Here's an opportunity for you just to defend the statement that you began with. And anyone, feel free to turn on your mic or just to raise your hand and contribute to this topic. Javan, back to you. Unmute.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I really understand the reactions of my fellow panelists on this show. But there's something just I wanted to say here is that this is the thing we have just to think about because who are initiating to take concern of this global warming or climate change? Are we the one to initiate such idea or such initiatives for taking care of environment so that really our continent might look much better and beautiful? Get understood of what we see because we can't just say like, yeah.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I understand that the global warming
Javan,
is not
let me suggest turn off your video.
affecting
Just use the audio only. It may stabilize.
Side because if you can change, you can see what happened.
Malik, can you mute? Okay, great. Javan, go on without the video.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that is better.
Okay. Thank you. What I was saying is that the global warming is not directly affecting those developed countries. It can affect the worldwide at any time. You can see what happened in Madagascar. You see, and that is really the part of such impact of global warming as well. So, and if you go to if you go to the continent of Africa, you go to Europe, you go to United States of America, you will find, even Asia, you will find such global warming is mostly happening to each continent and with different countries severely. But that can't justify that we have to be pressured to be having more contribution and preservation of environment, so that really to reduce such ecosystem, which is really contributing to the dangerous and impacting our lives, and also harming our lives, and also generating some different diseases due to the climate change. Because I see this in terms of depriving people. Why? If you tell me to plant more trees, yet you keep on producing weapons industries or whatever, nuclear weapons, which are mostly practiced on different oceans or different forests, which could to preserve such danger. I mean, such self-centered for developed countries, but who are still fragile, and still for them to develop what they want. So it's better maybe to think of what must be our interest, not for the interest of the people who are doing what is coming back to harm us. Thank you.
Wonderful. Allow me bring in Paul Kitui. Maybe Paul, just a quick reaction to what Javan is saying. Paul Kitui.
Yeah. Yeah, so sorry, my reaction to that is simple. Africa is the most vulnerable to climate change, simply because if we want to go into the geography of it and all of that, it is by structure the least adaptive continent to climate change. 2020, for example, was the warmest year on record, and Africans paid for it severely, apart from COVID, which itself was already really adverse in terms of its effects. So did you want me to maybe answer a specific question that he raised or something?
No, yeah, if you'd like to react to anything that Javan said, or anyone else would like to react very fast to anything that Javan said.
I don't think I had any counter to the argument for now. Anyway.
Wonderful. Lord Lushiro, your hand is up, sir. Unmute and go on.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Okay. I understand the Javan when he talks the way he's talking, because we understand the trust issues we have with the West and other parts of the world. But we have to understand that, okay, they are making these weapons and they're doing it in the oceans and everything. But why don't we now make our Africa the safe place? Okay, because we have an opportunity to make Africa the best place. If they are destroying everything elsewhere in the oceans and everywhere, why don't we now make Africa the safe place? Because we have the opportunity. Okay, if we come and say that everything that they have given us is insincere, which means we have been cheated on, even by the education that we have been given, because you will understand that the education Africa has gotten right from the independence has been education from other parts of the world. Therefore, when we talk about sincerity, we are insinuating that all along we have been cheated on, and we don't even know the definition of climate change, okay, among other things. So by the definition of climate change is a long-term alteration of temperature and typical weather patterns. And in Africa right now, we cannot cheat ourselves that we have not witnessed untypical weather patterns. For example, in Nairobi right now, today we will witness very high temperatures. Tomorrow, very low degrees. This is evidence of climate change. Now, with a little of industrialization that we have had, with a little of cutting of trees, with a little of burning of oil, it is already taking toll in different sectors of our country and our continent as a whole. Okay, in terms of economic sector, in terms of every places, okay, it has already taken toll. Talk about rising of temperatures. In Africa right now, we are in places like Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, even in Kenya, we are experiencing at least a degree higher than water and poles. They have risen. We are experiencing at least 5 millimeter per year. Look at Javan talked of Madagascar and Mauritius, which means that we are not any special. When we continue to play with this thing called climate change, we may get to a place where we are going to experience things that China are experiencing and other countries. Why should we get to that place? Because we are saying that we cannot trust some people, yet we have trust these people right from our independence. Okay, I understand that we cannot fully trust them blindly. At some point, every rumor comes with some truth, okay, which means not everything that also they tell us is a lie. Okay, there's also some truth in it.
Okay. Wonderful.
Maybe I'll leave it at that point for now.
Okay, wonderful. Paul Kitui, before you react, there's a hand that has been raised here for a very long time. Professor Weshuli. Sorry, brother. Professor Weshuli, take this opportunity.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Professor Weshuli. I'm getting you here from Nairobi. Actually, unfortunately, at the place where I am, I may not be able to switch off my video, but I hope you're getting me clear, Mr. Pondo.
No problem. We are getting you very well.
So, okay, my take for this discussion about climate change in Africa, I think I would like to start by saying that it is the road of I don't care which leads to the seat of I wish I knew. That to mean that prevention is better than cure. So as Africa, I can say that we cannot be ignorant to say that we are not that much industrialized, or the effects of the things that are happening, they just it matters so much to the European countries and not us. But let us be aware that the problem is with us, and so we must get ready to be prepared to face it. Actually, as one has said and has described it very well, that climate change, there's a long-term change in the statistical distribution of weather patterns over a period of time. And for the IPCC 2007, that's what they gave us the definition.
Great. Good evening, everyone, from wherever you are watching us this evening, and welcome to the debate night. Of course, tonight we are doing not a debate.
It's open for everyone to research, no matter the background. It's open for everyone to reference, no matter the background. So, in as much as we want to be independent as Africans, or in as much as we want to stand up for ourselves without any Western influence, all Pan-Africanism movement, we also need to acknowledge facts where they are. Is there climate change? Yes. Does it disproportionately affect Africa adversely? Yes. Yes, it does. And remember, Africa has the poorest mechanisms to climate change. We don't have strong agricultural production systems. Therefore, even changing weather patterns will affect us adversely. There will be hunger. We are heavily dependent on ecosystem goods and such, and so on and so forth. And also, I tend to think that sometimes we get lucky, because when weather changes in Africa, it does not do so to extremes like the way it does in the West. Because I don't know if Africans can cope with, say, an extremely hot summer or an extremely cold winter the way the West does. Hence, even adjusting their school calendars according to the weather. So the thing that I have to say is there climate change? Yes. But at the same time, we should also be independent, whilst not ignoring the fact that we need to step up our game in climate change. Otherwise, it will be to our own detriment. Thank you.
Wonderful. Lynn Agwe, your hands up. Lynn Agwe.
Yeah. First, I'll start saying that we should learn to honor our own.
You can turn on your video if possible.
First, I'd like to say that learn to own our own mistake. By owning our own mistake, it will help us to know where we can correct our mistake, rather than always saying that the Americans, the white countries, they are the reason is climate change. Because I believe they're not the reason why 90% there is climate change, because there are other reasons that have been brought by ourselves, like deforestation. Yeah, and I'll start to say climate change is a big threat to our country. It's a matter of life and death. And I think I'll just be simple and clear. Human and wild animals, they do face new challenges for survival because of climate change. More frequent and intense drought, storms, and whereas rising sea levels, melting glaciers, they directly harm animals and destroy the places they live. I want you to remember that when there is this climate change, it does not affect most country alone, and it just goes that way. It really brings a negative impact, especially on people who have poor living status. They undergo poverty. You remember, when the impacts of climate affect every country on every continent, they do not do it equally. In some countries, it will really bring a very big effect, and in some country, it will not bring that effect as the same as another country. You'll find that this country, or the people who are poor, it will really affect them adversely. Like, damages will be nearly impossible, because these people are really struggling to feed their families. They're struggling to earn a living. And when they undergo these climate crisis, it will really be difficult for their life. Remember that the time for action is now. With the UN Secretary General naming 2021 a make or break year to address the climate emergency, we should also embrace this and let this 2021 be a make or a break year. If you have the opportunity to to bring a positive change to our climate, to our environment, please do it. And according to a research from 2015, revealed that the planet has lost about a third of its able land in the previous 40 years, and in large part due to disasters and poor conservation. Every year, more trees and soil are lost, and more than 1.1 billion people live on weakening agriculture of depleted harvest that can cause hunger, poverty. This really shows us that this climate change, it really brings more harm than good. I believe that let me say in Kenya and even most of countries in Africa, we really depend on agriculture as our source of food, as our source of income. And so in that this soil, it's not that better or that nice to sustain our agriculture. We are going to undergo losses. We are going to have enough food. Yeah, and also this climate change, it brings about conflict because as time goes by, we'll find that we are not going to have more land to accommodate more people and more livestock. And even if you look at the reserved areas, like you'll find there is a farmer, he has cows. His cows can't be sustained at one point. It has to be moved from one place to another. At the end of the day, this cow will end up going into someone's shamba, eating his vegetables or eating his maize crops, bring about a fight between one person and one other. So we should bring positive impact in our society on matters with climate. Yeah.
Wonderful. Even before the quick reactions, because I see about 3 hands are up, just to remind you that these are the debates that we do here every Thursday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. East African time. And for the sake of our brothers joining from Rwanda, Congo, and South Africa, that should be 7 to 8 p.m. your time. That's the Central Africa time. I think the Central time. A very quick one. Later this month, from 20th to 23rd, will be climate change debate, dubbed Youth for Climate Debate. Have Omar Ibrahim, is a young man from Nairobi, very interesting, and you'll be very to meet this gentleman. We have Jeremy Atambo, also from Nairobi, Lesane Mutunkei from Kenya, Stephen Mkoko debating also from Kenya. We have Jenny Mitch will also be joining us for this debate. We have Maria Gitau, Kaloi Duncan, Lungashi, Dorka, John Gadiru, Shamaine from South Africa, from Rwanda, Malakane from South Africa. We have another great friend from Botswana, then Joshua Weshuru was there. All these great people will be converging to have a debate with us on the 20th to 23rd. Why are we debating? Just as the last speaker, the speaker immediately before said, simple action is now. Each other direction, the thing is that there's something that needs to be acted upon. Early November this year, there will be a conference of 36th UK, that is COP26. A month before that, there will be the pre-COP happening in Milan, Italy. And just a week before that, there will be the Youth Summit happening in Milan, Italy. These are conferences bringing together members, individuals from 196 members of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. That is the UNFCCC organizing the 6th annually. The 4 goals of this conference here: number 1, financing. Where is the climate? Number 2, mitigation. Number 3, collaboration. But the most important one, adaptation. As young Africans, at this conversation that we should be part of, the answer is yes. Remember when I started, I said it is projected that by the year 2060, we will have 3 billion people, out of which 3 will be young people. Is it time to start this conversation? That's why we'll be doing the debate from 20th to 23rd. When Mkoko spoke, when Ali spoke, when Javan spoke, everyone at the beginning, the thing that is coming out clearly is that what is the African narrative on climate? Is it something that is being posed on us, or is it a conversation that we are owning as young Africans? Anyway, we'll come back to that later. Lord, your hand, a minute or two, sir.
Okay, I just want to I want to disagree with Omkoko and Gilbert.
Yes.
That about Africa, we should now focus on the.
Can you do that in a minute or kindly because of time?
They're talking about, yeah, okay, I'll do in a minute or a minute and a half. They're saying that Africa should focus on the things at hand first before they go to other things. But let's think of it in this way, in this perspective. Should we now follow the steps that these people from other continents follow, so that we should come and cry after we have done all these decisions that we've done? Or should we now our decisions with the consciousness, with the contemplation that there exists change, therefore make better decisions than these people that made wrong decisions? You know, as Africans, I've come to realize that we believe we should follow every step that they took for us to develop. That's why in Kenya we moved from our old trains to SGR instead of to the light trains, because we're supposed to follow the two. Now we have an opportunity to make different decisions with the consciousness that there's something that exists that can cause planetary catastrophe. We are talking about something that can bring imminent catastrophe very soon. So I want
Lushiri, I'll have to cut you short,
to advise for us to excuse me.
The statement for us to in a few seconds.
Okay. Yeah, so I thought I had a minute and a half.
Yes, it is over.
Okay.
Go on. Mm-hmm.
For us to point fingers and everything, we should stand that we are not talking, it is there and has already shown what it can do to the world. And Africa has an opportunity to take a better path.
Wonderful. Great. Because I see so many hands being raised now, and we just have 9 minutes to the end. So can you just take a minute? Jeremy Atambo, let me start with you. Just a minute.
Hello.
We will revisit this conversation next week, so don't worry. This whole
yes, can you
topic. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Very well, sir. Go on.
Yes, I'm terribly sorry I cannot turn on my video as of now, but please do bear with me. So I got a few things during the duration I was here, and I can say that this book is very important. It's paramount. Because you see, when we talk about the climate crisis, they're more likely to learn facts. And with these facts, we learn about clear and scientific consensus on climate change being real and human caused. And you know, when you mention Africa, I just rethink the international climate blame game. The only way we can move forward is for us to collaborate together and say, I know the same amount of carbon oxide as you, but let us work together for the future. Look what's happening in the United States of America. This is just my last point. You know that in New York, this hurricane, the latest one, Hurricane Ida, has caused over 15 billion in damage, US dollars, as of today. And it's killed more than 30 people. Floods have occurred. And this is just because of one thing. This is because of climate change. So I think in future, if we want to see a better earth for all of us, come together. Thank you so much.
Great. Kerenki Lennox, a minute for you, sir.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible enough.
You're audible enough, sir.
Yes. First and foremost, I want to concur with Jeremy Atambo, because I believe it's high time that we really take note of the technicality of the issue at hand, and being and following the past scenario or status quo that has been there, that we always have to allude to the Western side or the other. At this point, we don't have to, like, our leaders don't have to, like, focus their minds on that direction, because this is something that is big. This is something that not only to us, I think that the world at large would bring out a better font in terms of ambiguity and in terms of fighting, as of just Africa alone in this against climate change. Yes, I would say that we produce less carbon dioxide, we produce less carbon monoxide. Our emission of gases is rather low as compared to some countries like Germany and United States of America, which are really industrialized. But look at the impact that this has on us as a continent. Look at, we are the, like,
Lennox, maybe you can maybe 2 seconds because of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, we are the greatest influencers of climate in our own way. We partake. Our economy is all around climate if facts were anything to go by. And for that matter alone, then we should be compelled to actually provide a fund, have a standing in this climate change fight, because without us, without providing a common front, then we're not going to win this. It's simply like trying to tell Africans, hey, look, you can just opt to not take care of the COVID menace. When the menace is too big, sometimes you have to come together and work together towards a common purpose. Thank you.
Wonderful. And we worried about this because the whole month we're tackling this, the topic for next week, we can provide like it will have to discuss it. Let me hear from Abomo Dan because he has not spoken. I see hands being raised. And of course, this kind of a conversation. Don't be worried. We are doing this again next week. Abomo Dan, maybe in 1 minute, kindly. 5 minutes to the end of the session. So just have a minute.
Yes.
Abomo Dan, your hand is up. Would you contribute? What is the thing that you wanted to share?
Yes, are you good? Yeah. Yes, I just want to.
No, we are struggling now to hear you. Maybe move closer to the deal. John Ohisa, in a minute, because we are already late.
Yes, thank you very much on the point. Now, the issue on which we're discussing is quite very crucial. The future of Africa is highly dependent on how we are going to ensure the capacity of our energy production. Now, in Africa, we find that the issue of capital is restrictive upon the issue of expanding into alternative energies. And as such, we find that these carbon energies, carbon-based energies, the fossil fuels are much more reliable in order to ensure our development over the next 30 years up until 50 that the UN set in order that the world reaches zero carbon emissions to circumvent the climate crunch. It is quite unfair to pay the price for the rest of the world's carbon emissions, where in us we need to prosper, we need to contribute to the energy, to our development, and that we cannot pay the price for the rest of the world to do as such. That is my contribution to the subject.
Wonderful. Abomo Dan, I'll be coming back to Omukoko Steve because he has something to respond to, but I won't take other. I'm sorry, brother, because time is not on our side. Everyone. But remember, next week, we're still tackling this topic in another very interesting angle. I'll tell you how we're going to tackle this one. Abomo Dan, would you like to go? Abomo Dan? A lot of noise behind you, sir. Okay. Omukoko Okoth, have a minute.
Yeah, just a quick response. I think most people misunderstood me. What I meant was we are not following the West. We are not following their track or the way they did things. The thing is, if people are dying right now, we cannot spend a part of our GDP to climate change, those future problems when people are dead already. If they die today, then we don't even have a future. And that's why we need to focus on what is killing us now before we focus on what will kill us in future. Thank you.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, time is not aside. We can't have all these conversations today. But this is the month of the climate change conversations. Remember, we will in fact be ending the month in we attack climate change, food security. On the 22nd, which is on a Wednesday, we are tackling climate change and energy. Then on the 4th day, that is on the 23rd, that is a Thursday, 23rd of September, we'll be tackling climate change and politics through governance. So you don't want to miss these debates. But for now, let me just also remind you that we are tackling this conversation every Thursday until we get to the series of the debate series that we planned. So next week we'll be back. Check on our social media pages, Kamti Voices, that's the name all through. Kamti Voices on LinkedIn, Kamti Voices on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, for the topic that we're tackling next week. Anyway, we have a very interesting conversation. I'll let either Javan or Ali Malekani. Ali from South Africa will just give a parting shot because there are our guests, there are visitors today joining us for the first time. And Javan, maybe just a minute each, then we call it a day. Ali Malekani. Javan, are you here? Javan, are you here? Javan Mugenzi?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you turn on your video, maybe for the sake of those who had not seen you before?
Thank you. Thank you for giving me such opportunity, and also the ideas all the panelists have been trying to give out on such subject. It's really interesting. One of the things I can just say by concluding is that when we are talking about climate change or global warming in the context of Africa, we need to remember that what constitutes that climate change. If people are talking about deforestation, then we need to really look out what is contributing to that deforestation. How many refugees which are leaving their homes, and what impact where they are going to live. So we need really to understand that tackling the climate change, there is something first we need to think about, which is about the wars which are taking between some different countries and which are making different troubles, because the more labor groups also, they are using such forests for survival or something else. So if we tackle such first things, I think that would be much easier. And I think that is not a matter of maybe something. And remember those people as well, because if I say about Western countries, please, you have to notice about these weapons which are increasing numbers of refugees here and there. Just
okay. Javan, we lost
because I think something like that.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I was just talking about a little bit. Yet it might look like a different subject, but it is not. We look at what contributes to this climate change in the context of Africa. If we are losing,
for the sake of time, maybe you can just wind up. Yeah. Javan, for the sake of time, maybe use the next few seconds to complete what we're talking about.
Yes.
Ali, kindly mute. Javan. Ali, mute your device. Okay. Javan. Ali, can you mute your device? Okay, great. Javan, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was just saying, like, if we talk about climate change of Africa, we need really to know all the factors which are contributing to that. It is not a matter of for increasing of industries, whatever, but we're not contributing to all that is of climate change throughout the people who are not really.
Okay. Great, Javan. So let me do this, ladies and gentlemen,
and which are defective, because of such.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Javan. I think that yes, some technical issue from your side, but I was saying that let me do this because this seems to be a very interesting conversation. We can't complete it in one conversation. I mean, it's just time for action. What we are acting upon, we still don't know what is very clear that we need to work on. Based on the conversation that we've had here, I've seen, a lot of loopholes have been created. A lot of misunderstandings, and even Omukoko admitted that it seems people misunderstood him. We want to come back with this same conversation next week, but on a different angle. The poster will be out as early as Monday, this coming Monday. Be prepared to have this same conversation on a different angle. We'll communicate. Check on our Facebook and Twitter handle as a Camp B Voices. But remember, the time for action is now. See you next time. Let's talk here with the dotting of the I's and crossing of the T's. We can't have this conversation in one sitting. Have a good night, everyone.
I'm here thinking that, you know what, brother man, there are different reasons why people give money in relationships to their girlfriends or to their partners, rather. You know, and this is the same thing that causes a lot of complications and misunderstandings at the end of a relationship. Why? Because if you give someone money in a relationship to spoil them, to pamper them, when you give them the money out of your heart, out of a good giving heart, and you say, you know what, babe, I bought this for you, or here is money, you can go and spoil yourself. When you give them with a mentality of, like, with good intentions, when you give them the money out of a good heart, it is not going to cause a problem. But if you give someone money with the mentality that you're actually buying them, you are keeping them, you are buying them to come and stay in the relationship, it is not one and the same thing, brother man. Do you get the notion?
Okay, yeah, I understand. I can understand you.
So, when you give someone money with the mentality that you're buying them, if the person is not bought by that money, at the end of the day, that will cause you a lot of stress. Why? Because you wanted to buy the person with the money. To your surprise, the person is not kept by the money. The person can still leave you however much you spent on them. You were trying to buy them, couldn't buy them, in fact. But if it were to be that, if the case was to be that you're giving the person the money with a good heart, or with a giving heart, with the heart that you say, if the person is, you will know that the person is just leaving. But if you buy, you will want all your things back. Why? Because your intentions did not come true. Your intentions were not manifest, or that they didn't bear the fruits that you were hoping for. It's making sense.
Yeah, no.
And then, if it comes to
my personal take on love, actually, is love actually love actually is
I understand what you're saying, but the thing is, there are those who believe that money actually acquire love. So the thing is that how will one be able to prove that? Because we know that a lot of people are actually just trying to run around the fact that we know that money buys love. But the thing is that this is how things are going. All right, thank you for your thoughts.
It's not doing it. It will not actually measure how much love that we give
someone and how much you love someone and what someone do in return. I can tell you that a lot of people, especially when it comes to the issue of the female part, when it comes to the issue of the female part, most of them, they tend to be in a way whereby we can say they're trying to act as if they are disabled or what. They're having this mentality that, a man is the one who must wake up and go and do everything and give them the bank card and give them money and everything. That's not how it goes. And also, not going out on the emotion. The motion definitely says that money, love is not only enough. Are they correct?
Yeah.
I think love speaks everything rather than money. Because I disagree with against that we had, saying that there should be, and also the charity. I understand the issue of